Get ready to master your life and achieve your dreams with Lifestyle Mastery, the show that will transform the way you think about personal development, business, and entrepreneurship, and explores the fascinating world of self-improvement with the guidance of the renowned expert, Dr. Sheila Smith. From mastering your mindset to building a successful business, Dr. Smith and her guests will inspire, educate, and empower you to live your best life.
Welcome to Lifestyle Mastery. I am your host, Dr. Sheila Smith, and today we have a special treat for you. We have Denise Williams, and let me put these glasses on because you know how this goes. Denise Williams is an international real estate broker. She is the CEO of Williams and Company International. We got to get the international because that thing is serious. International Realty. Which is a full service agency. She also has 2 degrees. One's in finance and the other one is in international business. Why am I telling you all of that? I'm telling you that so that when she speaks, you'll know that she knows what she's talking about. She also is a mother, and she is doing her thing in Dubai. I can't wait for you to hear this beautiful woman speak, and we're going to bring her to the stage because I don't even want you to have to wait not one more second. Welcome, Denise Williams.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm super excited.
I am so excited to have you because I am someone that scrolls the social media spaces. And when I see someone that's really doing great things, I want to bring to this platform. And because of your story, because of the fortitude that you had in your life to get to where you are, it just inspired me. So that let me know multitudes will be inspired. So let me start by asking you, who is Denise the broker?
Yes, thank you so much. So as you mentioned, my name is Denise Williams. Just to give you a little bit of background of who I am, just individually, I was born and raised in Hinesville, Georgia, so a very small town. I am a country girl and a true Georgia peach, okay? And so graduated family, I'm one of 6. So very humble beginnings is what I come from, as many of us share similar stories in that regard. After graduating high school, I relocated to Valdosta State University, where I obtained the degree you mentioned in finance. Also had a son during that time while in college. So that's something we can, probably touch on a little bit later. But he is my pride and joy. He actually lives here with me in Dubai. So he is on this international journey along with me and has been with me for the last 14 years as I have gone to college and then also opened my own real estate company in 2018. So he's been with me throughout all the stages of life. And so fast forward to where I am today, started my own company in 2018, grew it to be the largest Black woman-owned brokerage in Atlanta for 3 years, and then now opens my first international branch. So although I'm in Dubai now, I'm in, note this because it is the first. It's not going to be the only. And so I'm super excited to be able to be on this podcast today and just share my journey, share what I'm doing with your audience today. So thank you again for having me.
My pleasure. Now you talked about, and we're going to go right into that. Along your journey of being in college, you found out that you were pregnant. Can you talk about that?
Sure. So obviously it was a surprise. I mean, I wasn't planned, but I was in a relationship with this upperclassman. So, I thought I had it going on. And my sophomore year, I ended up conceiving my son. And just to be transparent, because I think it's very important that people know what really happens and how you're able to overcome different things in life. Of course, I went through the whole thought process of aborting him, but ultimately decided to keep him. obviously, because he's still with me now. But that was really a tough decision, because if you really think about where you are at that stage in life, I just got to college. I was just getting my groove as far as true adulthood, because up until 18, I was with my parents. But because I lived a very sheltered lifestyle, very religious, was in church, 3 days out of the week. And so he introduced me to what I like to call the bad side of fun.
Yeah.
And, it was my first experience with alcohol, my first experience with the club. And I honestly was just living my best life. So I thought. So got wrapped up in that whole situation. Definitely am happy that I moved forward with it, but it taught me a lot. It gave me insight. I never give Destin credit for me being ambitious, because I honestly believe that's a gift from God. But I think that he gave me a sense of responsibility. He gave me a sense of focus. So while a lot of my friends were able to go out and do different things, I had to make sure that I was doing my studies, because now I have someone that's looking at me, and every decision that I make now impacts someone else. So when I think about my journey and how blessed I am to have had that happen back then, to fast forward to where I am now, it was truly a blessing, because although his father isn't consistent or active in Destin's life, had I been with a man who was going to be active and consistent, I probably wouldn't be in Dubai right now, because he wouldn't have signed the documents to let him come, because it's like, you're not taking my son overseas.
That's right.
So there's always a silver lining in every decision. And so even think about if I had him last year, if he's 14, so I'm able to move around with someone that's older. If he was an infant, I probably wouldn't be in Dubai, because I would have been nervous to take a young child overseas with me. So everything in life happens as it should. No matter if it's good, bad, or ugly, there is always light at the end of the tunnel.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
If we were on Clubhouse, I would have said, clip that part right there. That is so good. You just shown that it can be done, and you moved forward with the baby, because to be transparent with you, I had the same thought, because I was a teenage parent. I had 3 by the time I was 18.
Wow.
And so I said to myself, I can't go on with what I wanted to do, but I decided to do it. No, not saying that, oh, well, you're a bad person if you did do it. No, we're not saying that. We're just saying our choices were to take it and go forward with it. So what made you, and I know I read a little bit of your story about you worked in a particular place that you were a part-time broker. What made you have the passion for wanting to go into that industry?
So getting into real estate, when I graduated from Valdosta State University, I thought that having a finance degree was going to be a golden ticket. It's a specialized degree. I pledged in a sorority. I had a great GPA. So for me, I'm like, I have the resume that should get me to that next level, like many of us do. And when that didn't happen, and when I ended up getting the job I got out of college, which was Title Max, it was a terrible experience. It wasn't just so much about, oh, I'm working in corporate America and this is a 9 to 5. I genuinely felt ashamed of what I was doing, because it's predatory lending. And so what I was doing to my culture and community, because they have those in specific neighborhoods for specific clientele. And so I was like, you know what, I cannot stay in this industry. And so when I did more research online and realized that every billionaire and every millionaire, they all have their hand in real estate. They may not necessarily be real estate agents, but they own development companies. They have property management companies. They own or invest in REITs. And so there's a lot of different avenues that you can go into real estate to build wealth. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to try to reinvent the wheel. What I'm going to do is learn what these other people are doing and see how I can add those same skills into my life. And so I was like, you know what? Let me do the first step and get my real estate license. It checked all the boxes from the perspective of unlimited income potential, the opportunity to truly help others. And then I'm a people's person by nature. So it was a very fun job for me to be able to interact and engage with people and problem solve. But ultimately I was like, okay, so there's no dress code. Oh, listen, I'm gonna be cute every day, and make my own schedule, sign me up. And so I made that decision in 2012. So many people think that like, oh, this girl just popped up out of the blue. No, I've been doing real estate since 2012. And so I never looked back. That was a huge decision for me because as a single mom, I needed more income. I needed more flexibility with my time to be able to be a mother and raise him the way that I wanted to raise him. So real estate afforded me that opportunity. And I think you had a second part to your question as far as why I chose to go the brokerage route. When I got my real estate license, I started with one of the largest real estate firms in the world, KW. And so if you're a real estate agent watching this, then you already know that they're known for their training program. They're, a great place to start. So when I started with KW, I actually became very close with the team leader at the time. And so she took me under her wing and she actually gave me an opportunity to work alongside her. And so in that role, I was able to see how the company was run from the inside out. And I'm like, you know what? This is a huge opportunity to really learn how a brokerage is run. And so I took that in and I started to note how she was moving, how she was recruiting, how she was developing preferred partner relationships. But ultimately, when I started to see the checks that were coming in the door, I realized that Keller Williams was on every single check that came through the door, even though the agent's name was different. And so I was thinking to myself, if I truly want wealth, I have to have leverage. You can't have wealth without leverage. And so I said, you know what? I'm on the wrong side of this real estate thing. I need to own the building. And so I decided at that time, I said, you know what? I'm going to get my real estate brokerage license because I want to leverage other agents to generate income while I'm raising my son or while I'm on the beach or while I'm vacationing with my future husband. You know what I'm saying? Because we manifested that too. And, it was for me just a strategic decision because even at that time, there weren't examples per se of like who is running independently owned real estate firms because even KW is a franchise. So to branch out and do it independently was a bold move for sure.
My mouth, this is so good. So are you still in the Atlanta area, even though you're in Dubai?
Yes. So I still have a team in Atlanta. And I also operate here in Dubai. So I'm in the US quite a bit. I was just in Atlanta 2 weeks ago. So I go there on an as needed basis. I'll train my team virtually for the most part. And then a lot of my business is automated. So prior to relocating to Dubai, and this is something I want people to really pay attention to because a lot of times people want to be entrepreneurs because they want the prestige of it all. They want the clout. They want the recognition. But it's very, very hard to be a leader. And I didn't make this decision to relocate to Dubai or open a company in Dubai off of emotion. I didn't wake up and say, oh, I just want to move. I get DMs like that all the time. Oh, I'm just tired of where I am. Oh, I don't like what I'm doing. I just want to move. But there is no strategic plan behind that. If you make any decision based off of emotions, you're sure to land somewhere you don't plan to land. So when I came to Dubai, I visited Dubai 3 times before making a decision to start a company. Why did I do that? Because I wanted to do research and development. I wanted to make sure I knew and understood the market that I was pursuing. I wanted to make sure that I felt good about the lifestyle it was going to provide for me and the safety that it was going to provide for my son. So anytime you're making a decision in business, regardless of if you're thinking about growing domestically or internationally, make sure you have a checklist of due diligence items that you go through before making a decision. And then you allow emotions to be the icing on top. And that's how I made this decision to do that. So it took me a year to actually make that transition. And then I also had to spend time with my local team to train them to be without me. I had to train them to see me on Zoom. So they didn't know I was going to be transitioning, but I started to make our training classes virtual. I started to do more things, pulling myself out of the business and hiring and replacing myself on the back end because I knew what was to come. So make sure that you're putting things in place to automate. There's 2 things that I won't do going forward as an entrepreneur. I will not start a business that I can no longer automate because I move around way too much. And I won't start a business that will make me less than $1 million. So it has to check those boxes because in order for me to put my time, energy, and effort into it, it has to make sense at this particular stage in life.
That is so good. That is so powerful. So when you were in Atlanta and you had visited Dubai 3 times, when you went to Dubai the first time, did you feel that this is a place that you could possibly live in, or was it just on a vacation type of thing?
So the initial trip for me coming out to Dubai, I actually was booked to speak in South Africa at a conference, a social media conference. So if you're not leveraging social media and like really putting money into your marketing and investing, you are doing yourself a disservice. So I got that opportunity because someone noticed my social media and they wanted me to come and talk at a conference internationally. So that was my first time speaking in another country. And so flew from Africa. I was invited over to Dubai by a friend of mine. Shout out to Paige. She worked with the Stephen Marjorie Harvey Foundation, and I worked with them as well in the past. She said, "Hey, we're doing our first golf tournament and gala here. You should fly over and like be a part of it." And I'm like, say less. Steve Harvey, I'm there. You know, they need me again, I'm there. And so I flew from Africa to Dubai. I came here with the intention to just have a good time with celebrities. I mean, I met Chris Tucker, I met Malik Yoba, Anthony Anderson. We had an amazing time. But what I noticed about my trip was not just about enjoying Dubai. I noticed that there were cranes everywhere. I noticed that there was development going on every street. And that obviously caught my attention because I've been in real estate so long. So I'm like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that Dubai is doing it like this? They're developing and growing like this. So when I started to do my research online, having conversations with people, I realized that it is one of the top emerging markets in the world for real estate. And so most people automatically assume that because Dubai is in the Middle East, their GDP is based off of oil. Although that is a percentage of their GDP, tourism is actually number one. And most people don't realize that. So Dubai is the most popular destination to visit. I mean, who doesn't have Dubai on their bucket list, right? Everyone wants to visit Dubai. You have a very small percentage of people who say, not me, but if you want to come to Dubai, right? You know, and so for me, it just made sense because it was two things that were happening. One, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity in the development space for real estate. The other thing is I was looking for American realtors. Could not find them. And so I said, wait a minute, hold on now. You mean to tell me this is in the top 4 luxury markets in the world, and there are no real Americans that have a strong presence or brands in Dubai? I said, oh, say less. God, you open this door for me, because if I'm seeing this opportunity and I don't take advantage of it, then someone else will see the opportunity and do it. And so I was like, you know what? Let me not get emotional. So I'm not just I'm practicing what I preach. Let me come back again. Let me see how I feel, because I don't want to just get excited. I don't want to just think that this is, because it is a true commitment. It's literally night and day. Okay. So it's 9 hours difference from Eastern Standard Time. And so I'm like, okay, can I commit to working 2 time zones? So I flew back over again. I still felt energetic about the place. I still was interested. I was still like, yes, this is something I can do. And then the third time I flew my mother out. And I wanted her opinion. I'm like, Mom, I'm serious about this. I think this is something that I can do. There's a need for it. There is a voice. Someone needs to be the liaison between the US and the UAE in the real estate sector and let them know about these tremendous opportunities to invest. She came over. She saw the vision. She loved Dubai. She was like, do it. Obviously, she didn't want her grandson that far away, but I'm just like, Mom, I can give him an international experience, something he could only dream of something you would have loved to have given me. But I mean, our parents weren't having conversations about international business. This is still a fairly new concept. It's something that we put into the position of the ultra wealthy, like only they can be in Monaco, or only they can have offshore bank accounts, or only they can get currency in different currencies. Well, I'm here to tell you that that is something that you can obtain as well. I want you guys to know that you can earn currency in different currencies. I don't care if you're a multimillionaire in dollars. If the dollar falls, you're back to square one. We have to get smarter with the way that we invest. Although Dubai has done a tremendous job of marketing us to come and see the birds, to go and do the desert safari, you need to start looking at different regions as places to transact, as places to earn income, and not just as a consumer. We have to stop looking at every vacation as a consumer. Sometimes those vacations should be opportunities and outlets for you to think bigger, outlets for you to see how another country is running their business, opportunities to look at the development plans and their economic structures. Because guess what? No place is guaranteed and no place is number one forever. We see the things that are happening in the US. It's very clear. The writing is on the wall that things are shifting. If you're not paying attention to that, you are leaving yourself open to a lot of vulnerability. There are so many other economies that are much less expensive to work. We're stressed at an all-time high. Our teenagers are committing suicide at record rates. There's so much going on that we need to take heed to and get off of all these TikTok challenges and start really thinking about what is going on with our futures and with the generations that are coming behind us.
I was about to run. I was about to start running because you hit the nail on the head. That's why it was so interesting to me when I saw you on your balcony, flipping your hair, in the robe, looking over this landscape. I said, she's in Dubai.
Yes.
She really did it.
Yes.
She's not just talking out the side of her neck. She really did it.
I really did.
And
yes.
She wasn't emotional. That was the key word you said.
Yes.
You weren't emotional.
Mm-hmm.
You thought it out.
Yes.
So when you decided to do that, what steps did you have to do to get that in place?
Yes. So I'm grateful that I have proof of concepts, right? Oftentimes people want to jump into things because they think it's a trend. But because I've been doing it so long, it was just an opportunity for me to display my talents in a new market. So I knew what questions to ask. I knew, what things I would need, what resources, who I needed to talk to, how to create my partnership team, get my lenders, get my inspectors, get my appraisers. So I just really applied the knowledge that I already have in the US market to the Dubai market and sought out all of those people that I needed in order to make it happen. And so it's been a blessing having that experience. So on top of getting my real estate license, so the structure of it all is very similar to the US. And I'll drop some gems for agents who might be looking for an opportunity to become an agent in Dubai. Yes. What you have to do is similar as far as your testing. You do have to go to school to obtain your real estate license in Dubai. You have to do a background check as well. And then they're also going to want you to establish residency. So this is the biggest caveat that's different between getting reciprocity in the US. So oftentimes you can get a state-to-state license by just simply filling out an application and paying a fee. Well, in Dubai, you have to actually establish residency. And what that means is you have to provide proof of address. So in order to have proof of address, guess what? You have to invest in Dubai by getting a home. Whether you're leasing it or whether you're purchasing a home, you have to have a home here in order to obtain an Emirates ID and then also a broker card. So once you obtain your broker card, that is when you can actually transact to do business. Outside of that, you can obviously reach out to me. We can do a referral agreement and you can get paid on commissions without being an agent here, but it would be on a referral basis. So those are kind of the two options that you have as far as getting a real estate license in Dubai.
Okay. So what would you say? Can you give a little background about what the prices are like there? Because people can't even fathom that. When I saw that it was attainable, I didn't think that was the case. So can you speak to that?
Sure. So my recommendation when people ask me this question, and this is just to make it simple for people to really understand, I don't think that you should make an international decision with anything less than 100 to 150,000. You want to have that amount saved and put away because you have to consider your housing. You have to consider all of the costs associated with obtaining your licensing. You also have to account for the time period it's going to take to rev up your business. So you're still going to need to eat every day. You're still going to need transportation. So are you going to buy a car? Or are you going to use a taxi every day? Those things are going to add up, and then obviously marketing. You have to invest in your marketing, your brand, your attire, all of those things. So I would say that is a good and comfortable starting point to still get a property that you can lease until you're ready to buy. If you're looking to buy, kind of a threshold for that amount would be around 400,000 to 500,000 is going to be a good starting point to be in Dubai and to be into one of the great areas. Not that every area isn't good, because it's the number 3 safest place to live. So even if you're on the outskirts, you're still okay. It's just a distance situation at that particular point. But the beautiful thing about distance is that isn't even necessarily a hurdle, because I have a driver, and being able to have a driver here is not that costly. So you can have a lot of different services that cater to you, which I love because I don't do my own laundry. I don't clean my own house. Listen, I'm like, y'all are creating this diva, okay? So it does afford you those opportunities as well to, live a different lifestyle and, level up in that way.
So what about the person, the everyday person
Mm-hmm.
that says to themselves, oh my goodness, this sounds amazing. I didn't know Dubai was, affordable. And
Mm-hmm.
what will you get as a regular person going over to Dubai? What kind of like money does it cost to do that for the person, that everyday person?
An everyday person. So honestly, the prices that I mentioned are for everyday people.
Awesome.
Dubai is a cash-driven society. So let's just note that as well. So let's get into kind of what those investment strategies look like. So there are 3 different ways to invest in Dubai. Number 1 is going to be through new construction. So if you're someone who's looking to purchase property, you can purchase a new construction. This will be the lowest barrier to entry, to answer your question, for an everyday person. Lowest barrier to entry because it allows you to put down 10 to 20% into the project in order to start making payments over time. So the easiest way for me to contextualize or break it down for you is to imagine going to purchase a property in cash in the United States. Let's just use $300,000 for an example. You want to buy a $300,000 property in cash. So you have to give that $300,000 to the closing attorney in order to get your keys, right? You have to have the full amount. In Dubai, you do not have to have that full amount. What they allow you to do is say, hey, if it's 10% down, give us $30,000, right? Put this amount down, and we're going to allow you to break up those cash payments over time. So it's a blend between cash and financing from the perspective of having an amortization schedule. But in this particular case, that schedule does not include interest. So now you do not have to pay $300,000 out of pocket. You get to actually divide it up over time as if it's financing without interest. So to give you kind of an example, say you put down the 10% and another 3 months, you'll put down another 10%, 6 months from there, you put down another 10%, and so on and so forth until that project is completed. So you will have a schedule of fees that you will pay now until the property is completed. The projects are typically completed within 2 to 4 years. So depending on the developer and depending on the details within or amenities within a project will determine how long it will take to build. So this is something that is great for a first-time investor to get in and then make those payments. And get this, when you use this strategy, there is no credit check.
That's what I was doing next.
There is no bank statements required. There is no social security number that I need from you. I do not need to see your tax returns. All you have to do is wire the money from your bank account to the developer as scheduled. So as long as you're able to do that, that is what they care about. So that's what makes this market so unique, because it doesn't require much. Literally, passport copy, utility bill with your mailing address, an email address, a phone number, and a KYC form, which is called a Know Your Customer form, which you fill out just to say, I'm not on the run, I do have a clean background, etc. And that's it. That is it. So when we're over here and having to give an arm and a leg and our first child, to get into a property, they are making it so easy. And so for those who are skeptical, one, I can give you some testimonials for clients who have gone through the process, so you can check that. But 2, I want you to know the reason why it is such a barrier to entry is so low. It's because they're an emerging market. We're in a developed market. So the US, they are more debt focused. Dubai is more cash focused. So they don't really want you to invest more than you can actually afford. But what they're doing is allowing you to do it, because think about it. It doesn't look good for their economy if they have a bunch of foreclosures, if they have a bunch of people that are getting evicted and things like that. So they set it up in a way that everyone wins. They're thinking smart. They've been able to sit back and evaluate these developed countries and be able to pull out the things that they like and don't like. That's what happens when you're number 2 and number 3. So me as the pioneer, I'm the first Black woman to open an independent firm in Dubai. But guess what? The second one will be able to learn from me, and the third one will be able to perfect from me. So that's just how it goes. That's the natural flow of how things work. So the UAE is only 51 years old. They'll be 52 on December 2nd.
Wow.
So think about that. In the last 51 years, they've been able to come together and still make the top 10 GDP list in 51 years. Let that sink in. So I'm in a market that of the world, top 10, they're number 10. So to do that for me as a researcher and someone who likes to read and do different research, I was just blown away by all the stats and information that I found about this market. I'm like, oh, count me in. Y'all not gonna leave me behind. You're not going to leave me behind. So they're trying to make their barrier to entry low to obtain the eyes of the foreign investors, because once you experience it, they know and understand you're going to love it. You're going to continue to spend money. You're going to continue to buy properties. So they're not trying to make all their money on the front end. They don't need your debt. Their banks don't need your interest. Trust me, they got it. So that is the best way for you to get into the Dubai market. And then I'll mention briefly the other two, just so that people know, because I wanted to make sure I share those. The second option is, it is basically the same as option A. We'll call them A, B, and C. So think about option A. However, think about it from the perspective of going back to me saying that it takes 2 to 4 years to develop a new construction project here. So let's say you've purchased a property today, but in 2 years from now, June 2025, right? You're like, you know what? I don't want to pay on this project anymore. I would much rather use the cash for something else. Guess what? You have the option as an investor to not pay the property in full. Instead, you can actually resell your floor plan, the paper that you've been paying on for the past 2 years while they're developing this project. You can list your floor plan on the market for sale. So I coined this strategy, flip your floor plan. So now you can flip your floor plan, whereas we do fix and flips, we have a tangible asset. You're flipping the paper. So now think about this. You bought the property pre-construction 2 years ago. So now obviously 2 years have gone by, more units have been sold, prices have gone up. Now you get to resell your floor plan to a new buyer. Now they're a second buyer. So of course you're going to sell it for more than what you initially invested. So being the first, obviously, is going to always get you the lowest cost. The second is a little more, the third is a little more, and so on and so forth. So if you get in early on these development projects, you really can't lose, whether you decide to flip the floor plan or whether you decide to pay it until completion. If you pay it until completion, obviously now you have a tangible asset in your international portfolio. But you have two options, which I love, because things happen, right? Life happens. You don't know what could happen over a 4-year period, but you do know that you have been putting money into a savings account by way of real estate in Dubai. So you're going to spend the money anyway, right?
Right.
But why not spend it into a real estate project? Because the time is going to come anyway. The time is going to be spent anyway. And so I really, really love the way that they have this set up for us. And then the third strategy is obviously purchasing property that is currently existing. So this is going to be a strategy for someone who is more experienced in real estate investing. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend this for a first-time investor because it does require more paperwork and it does require more down payment. So the minimum down payment for a resale property is 50%. So you have to have 50% of the property purchase price in order to buy something currently existing. So going back to our $300,000 example, you have to have at least $150,000 out of your own pocket to come to the table with. That other 50% can come by way of a local bank loan. So you cannot use your bank in the US. It will be a bank in Dubai that you have to still get pre-approved for. So that in this particular case is where credit will come into play. Although even with the credit score, it's still secondary to how much money you actually have in your bank account. So they would prefer someone who is cash heavy with bad credit all day. Because again, They are cash focused. They're cash driven. So that's why you might be thinking like, "Ooh, 50% down. I'm in the US. I'm used to getting, I want to use my VA, or I want to get down payment assistance." Well, in Dubai, they don't want you to be in debt. So they're saying you need to buy what you can afford. So imagine getting a mortgage on only 50% of the balance versus a mortgage on 100% like they do in the US. Why do the US do this? Because they want interest from the banks. They want you to be tied into a property for 30 years. You're paying off these projects in like less than 10 years, spreading the property out. Like you can own properties free and clear between 5 and 10 years. So imagine how many we could actually own if we had this structure in the US.
Oh my goodness.
And it's truly free and clear. Let me tell you this, there are no annual property taxes. So when I say it is truly free and clear, that allows you to keep the property. And let me dispel this myth. You do not have to own a property for 99 years. You own it into infinity. That rule has been changed. As a foreign investor, we can own the land in Dubai. So please note that. Because I get a lot of comments where they're like, "Oh, you can only own it temporarily." No, that rule has been changed. You can now own the property. You can put the property into a trust, et cetera, et cetera. You can keep your property in your family. And now, if you leave it to your grandchildren or great grandchildren, you don't have to worry about them not paying their property taxes every year and selling their property for $10,000 after you spent your whole life trying to leave something to them ungrateful grandkids.
Right.
And so I love that they are protected from themselves in this particular strategy.
Because I heard that 99 years. So I'm glad you dispelled that.
Yes.
No taxes.
No property taxes. No annual property taxes. What they do in lieu of the property taxes is you pay a one-time fee of 4% up front. So that'll be 4% of whatever property, whether it's new construction or resale. And that's essentially prepaid property taxes, but you don't pay the government anything else. So you pay that one time and you're done.
People lose their houses for $500 back taxes here.
I mean, I can show you a few websites right now. Tax liens, tax deeds, people are losing it over $500, $1,000, all the time. It happens all the time. And sometimes it's just not even having a good check on the paperwork. Your paperwork is lost in translation. So it's not always that you don't have the money. It's just sometimes the paperwork isn't right and no one is managing the flow of it, and it just gets lost in translation. So this allows you to truly leave a legacy. And I am so happy to be on the front end of this conversation because it's something that we need to know. And I'm not holding back. I'm sharing as I learn and as I grow. There's still a lot more that I have to learn about the market. But hey, I like to tell people, and this is something you all should take to your heart, is that you always have access to your freshman class. And what that means is there is always someone who does not know as much as you do. So I don't care if you do hair. I don't care if you are a chef. I don't care if you're in real estate. If you have knowledge that you have experienced, there is someone who has not experienced those things. There is someone who has not closed the deals that you have closed. So never feel like you don't have value. You always have value. There's always someone that can learn from you. And some of us are, and this is me speaking to myself as I speak to you. If I would have waited to sell more real estate in Atlanta to feel qualified to be in Dubai, I wouldn't be on this call right now. If I would have waited for someone else to give me another certification, or for someone to give me another degree, or someone else to put their stamp on me to make me feel like I'm worthy, I wouldn't be on this call with you right now. So I don't know who this is for, but you don't need another degree. You don't need another certification. You don't need to close another deal. It's time for you to start sharing your knowledge, spreading your message, be bold about what your accomplishments are, and be confident in your ability to help others. And that's what I had to stand on. I didn't get to stand on, I have all these investors and all this money and all these security and all this. No, I had to stand on my experience, my knowledge, and my trust and vision in God. And that is what has gotten me here. So you have everything that you need to get to that next level. Stop holding yourself back.
I'm going to clip that right there, and I'm going to put that all over everywhere, because that is the message. Mm-hmm. That is the message. We don't need no more excuses, no more
Yes.
procrastination, no
No.
more, oh, I don't know how, I
Yes.
can't, I don't have anybody
Yes.
to look towards. That excuse
Yes.
is over.
It's over. It is over. It's over. You know, the internet has given us so much access, so much access to knowledge. Stop scrolling and looking at these different videos that aren't going to pour into you, or all these negative comments and things of that nature. Read, spend time on YouTube, spend time. There's a website called Udemy where you can get courses for low cost, but they can teach you so much about anything. There's literally no topic that is not covered by some expert in some industry. You know, stop wishing for it. It's not going to come from a wish. It's going to come from true execution. You have to execute these ideas, you all. No one is going to come save you. No one is going to knock on your door and say, hey, it's your time. It's your chance. Hey, you, number 25, it's your chance. It's not going to happen that way. You have to stand up and tell us who you are. And so I'm bold with mine. I'm bold now. I'm stepping loud. I'm letting the world know who I am, what I've done, and why I'm the reason you should come to this area and invest.
You are absolutely amazing. You are absolutely right. I'm so glad you segued to that, because so many people needed to hear that, because they sit idle. They sit idle and won't do anything because they're waiting to see the next person do it. Aren't you also a business coach?
Yes, I am. So I have the CE Owner Academy, which I'll be relaunching soon. I'm working on it in the background. I'm very, very excited about it, because so many people come to me like, can you mentor me? Can you this? Can you that? And I'm like, you know what? It's time. It's time for me to start sharing more knowledge. The biggest thing that was holding me back was that time. I'm like, do I have the time to really take this on? But I do have the time. I need to make the time to really give back. That is my passion project. The CE Owner Academy is also tied to mental health. So it's not just about, you know, money and all the success, because you have to be mentally prepared for success. And I'm learning and I'm growing through that. You know, when I do these, you know, podcasts or these speaking engagements and things of that nature, I get an influx of people that want to pull on you. And so you have to prepare yourself for, you know, exposure and influence and things of that nature. So one of the things that I would love to invite your audience to is what I call the CE Owner group chat. And what I do every first Sunday is I get on a Zoom call and I literally pull questions out of a hat. And they can range from your favorite recipe all the way to, have you ever had thoughts of suicide? You know, we go light, we go deep, you know, and it's just a vulnerable situation. Even I share things that I would never share on a public platform inside that group, because I want to share with people that we're all human. We all go through things. We all have made mistakes. And sometimes you just need that listening ear. And so that's one of my projects and it's free. It's not a charge. There's no upsells at the end. I'm not saying buy this, buy that. No, it's literally something that I just spent an hour or two last Sunday, or the last time we did last month. We were on the call for over 2 hours. We had people crying, people sharing their deepest, darkest secrets. Sometimes I'm like, oh, listen. I'm like, I'm going to have to partner with a therapist on these calls as I grow it. You know what I mean? But it's such a beautiful experience. So, you know, when you see the flyers on my Instagram, Denise the Broker, or any of that, please join us, because it's truly, truly life-changing.
You impress me because you give out so much information. Other people, can I be transparent? That look like us tend not to give all the information. We want to hoard it and hide it. Why do you feel it's?
I think that you can't have faith in God and also be scared to share your gifts and talents with the world. You know, people are going to work with me because they want to work with me. There's nothing I can say, do, not do. Like, you have to be confident in your ability. And you have to know, like, even if everyone in Dubai wanted to work with me, do I really have the capacity to help everyone? So if you stop thinking about, that's directly tied to a scarcity mindset, in my opinion, because it's just like, okay, well, if I share, then I'm not going to get the business. No, the more that you share actually is the opposite. Is you get more business. The more that I talk, the more that I give, the more that I receive. And, I'm not nervous or scared about that at all. Competition is healthy. It's something that helps you to stay on your toes. You're like, oh, they coming for me. Let me get on my A game. Do you think McDonald's would be as successful as they are if there was no Burger King?
Correct.
No, because it allows you to relax your shoulders when there's no one that's checking for you. So it's important that you don't focus on that. Just constantly focus on being on your lane. And it helps you to force you to do more personal growth and development. So I'm always having to read and research because I'm like, I'm getting a new question. I'm getting this. So it sharpens my skills as well. So I enjoy it. And I'm definitely enjoying this ride as I learn and grow in Dubai.
Can you tell the audience one more time where to find that Zoom?
Oh, yes, sure. It is on denisethebroker.com. That is my personal website. And you will literally see a tab that says the CE Owner Group Chat. And that is every first Sunday of the month. It's 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every first Sunday of the month.
Wonderful. I wanted to put your other website up. Can you talk about what Denise Sells Dubai is?
Yes. So Denise Sells Dubai is my latest website to share information, but more detailed information about similar things that I just talked about as far as investing in Dubai. So it's the 5 steps to investing in Dubai. So I want to show people in an ebook, specifically for an ebook. And then there's also a live webinar that you can purchase to learn how to obtain your first investment property in Dubai. So it's a step-by-step guide on what that looks like, how to do it. So it directly ties into my ability to share. I'm just like, why do I need to keep all this in my head? Like, I'm going to put this into an ebook so that when people do come to me, at least they have an idea of what's going on, what's happening, and we can get right into the inventory side of what's required. So even with that, it's a bold move because it's like, girl, you really giving these people this, information? But I mean, why not? Why not? You're either going to be or you're not. And that's just how I look at it. So that is definitely go to that website because that ebook is a wealth of knowledge about the Dubai real estate market.
You are going to be blessed for giving out what they say, the sauce.
Yes.
And you're over delivering. And that is so wonderful because that gives people the faith and the courage that, oh my God, when I pay, what in the world am I going to get?
Yes. Absolutely.
If she's giving all of this away, what else is there? My goodness.
Right. No, for sure. That's the strategy, and I'm going to continue to grow and develop it. I'm also hosting an event in November, which is called Invest Dubai 2023. This event is something that I hosted in March and it went really well. The whole premise of the event is for investors to physically come to Dubai and learn about the Dubai real estate market. So we're going to have a welcome dinner the first night. The next day, we're going to do a seminar where we break down different projects for you to invest in. And then I'm taking you out on a true property tour. So they're going to get to see, touch, and feel the real estate, decide if they want to invest or not, but just ultimately have a really great time. I mean, and then we'll have obviously entertainment sprinkled throughout, but it's a very, very great tour of the city as well as the real estate market here. So I encourage you, if you're interested in that, you can go to investdubai2023.com to join us for that event. Now, registrations for that are limited. Like I'm about to close registrations for that. So please act fast with that. And that's not me just selling you anything. I'm being serious because I need to be focused on my group, make sure that I have all of their gifts lined up. All of the information needs to be, top tier. And so, yeah, I'm very excited about the event coming in November. And that's the 29th of November through December 3rd.
It has been an absolute honor having you on, Lady Denise. I look forward to if you have any other functions that are coming up. I would love to have you on again to talk about those things. You are truly valuable.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you to everyone who watched, especially to the ends. I appreciate you. Follow me on all platforms at Denise the Broker. That's YouTube, that's Instagram, LinkedIn, all of those things, Facebook, Denise the Broker. So I'm looking forward to connecting with you all.
Thank you again. And until next week, we will see you then. This is Dr. Sheila Smith. Have a great day. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on Lifestyle Mastery with Dr. Sheila Smith. We hope that the insights, tips, and tools shared in this episode have inspired and empowered you to take control of your personal and professional life. Remember, personal development and entrepreneurship are a journey, and we're here to support you every step of the way. Keep applying the strategies and techniques you've learned, and never stop striving for your dreams. We'd love to hear from you. Please share your feedback and success stories on our website or social media platforms. And don't forget to subscribe to Lifestyle Mastery for even more expert insights and inspiration. Thanks again for being a part of our community. We look forward to continuing this journey of growth and success with you. And we'll see you again on our next episode.